This time it's the turn of Microsoft 365 Defender. What is it? How does it work? And what can it do for you? Stay tuned. Hi everyone, Andy Malone, Microsoft MVP, as well as a Microsoft certified trainer. You know, I'm often asked, Andy, can I do a session on Microsoft 365 Defender? And I thought that's a great idea. Formerly known as the artist Advanced Threat Protection, it's gone through a few name changes in the last few years, months, whatever. But it's recently got some new and cool features. Now, what I wanted to do is take you through the basics, the core things that you definitely need to get right. Things like anti-malware, anti-phishing, how to deal with safe attachments, how to deal with malicious links, and things like that, as well as generally finding your way around the portal and pulling off reports. It's a big topic area, so of course, you know, I can only do so much in one session. Now, if you've got any questions, comments, anything at all, get them down below and I will do my absolute best. And of course, if you've not subscribed to the channel, then I would really appreciate it if you could click on that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you won't miss out on the good stuff in the future. Okay, and please definitely like and share the video. Please pass that on. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the demo. Enjoy. All right then, so let's take a look at the new Microsoft 365 Defender. Now, first of all, this used to be known as ATP, Advanced Threat Protection. And Advanced Threat Protection basically came from two products. Now, as you've got this little take a guided tour, I'm not going to bother with that. You guys can obviously have a look at that if you want to. Now, originally, Advanced Threat Protection was an add-on for premium subscribers. Now, all customers get EOP, something called Exchange Online Protection. Now, Exchange Online Protection, you can find that down here in policies and rules. So let's just have a quick look at what you get free. So every customer, every Microsoft 365 customer basically gets this for free. So you go into threat policies here, and what we have here is you have got things like an anti-phishing policy, you've got anti-spam and anti-malware. Now, what you get in addition is something called safe attachments as well as safe links. All right. Now, in addition, you've also got some of these other features, and what Microsoft have basically done here is they put everything in one place. So some of these features you could just get to them from Microsoft Exchange. Now everything is in one single admin center, which is great. All right. Now, to be honest, here it says preset security policies. If I click onto that, it's just going to bring me down to these anyway. All right. What we do have is you can also run something called the configuration analyzer. Now, I'll come back to that first. So what I want to do is I want to take you through the basic stuff first. So we're going to go into the anti-phishing policy. Now, by default, everybody gets kind of a default policy here. And as you'll see, this default policy, to be honest, it's pretty good for most things. But of course, you can go in and you can customize that if you want to. So to customize it, I'm just going to simply click onto it. And you can see we have got some kind of default settings here. Now, you can see that the settings are always on. You get a little description. I can roll those different screens up. So you can see that we get the phishing thresholds and also the protection options there, the actions and so on. Now, you probably think, hey, this is nice. Can I edit this? Can I do anything with it? Yes, you can. So as long as you've selected it here, it says more actions, and you can either enable it, you can disable it, or you can delete it. Now, you need to have at least one policy. So you can go ahead and I can create another policy if I want to. So what I'll do is I'm going to call this, I'll call this my Sterling HQ policy. Okay. And you can put in a little description there if you want to. And you can say, okay, do you want it to include a specific user? Do you want it to include specific groups or specific domains? Now, in terms of groups, for example, I've got a group here called sales and marketing, so I could just add them into this. And I can create a policy just for this particular group or this particular domain or these specific users if I want to. Now you can do this, you can add in everyone, you can add in all your users and then exclude them. Now, so if I said exclude, you can say I want to include sales and marketing but exclude a particular user. So you can do that if you want to. Now, if you don't use this, by the way, it will just use the default setting. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click next, and then it says, okay, set your phishing threshold. And of course, phishing catches all those nasty emails. You know, apparently your Netflix account is running out or your subscription is running out. And that's what phishing attacks try and do. They try and generate a sense of fear so that you feel that, oh, I've got to go and click on this. And the usual saying is if it sounds too good to be true, it normally is. Now, you can choose the aggressiveness of the phishing protection. So one here is just standard. You can go to aggressive, more aggressive, and most aggressive. So in essence, there are 4 settings that you can do. And you can see that you get, it gives you a pretty good kind of indication as to how aggressive that protection is going to be. Now, the only problem here is if you have it set too high, sometimes it can obviously delete genuine email. So again, it's just, I suppose it's about finding out the right balance. Now, if you want to find out more about this, you can go to the little exclamation mark here. And of course, where it says learn more, this will take you through to docs.microsoft.com, which is the learning hub. And you can then learn all about the different areas of this. Now, I want to enable users, so enable impersonation protection for up to 350 both internal and external users. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on that. Do you want to enable domain protection? And what this does is it protects you from anybody kind of pretending to be you, for example. You can also add trusted senders and domains. So for example, enable mailbox intelligence. Now, just to let you know that some of these features may not be available to you, and some of them depend on the license that you've got. Now, if you've got an E5 or EMNS, Enterprise Mobility and Security, you basically get absolutely everything. You've also got spoofing protection here. So again, you can decide on things like, do you want to allow, you can have allow or block lists in turn of spoofing intelligence. Now, spoofing intelligence actually is a premium feature. So, okay, so you can see here, if the message is detected as an impersonated user, what do you want me to do about it? Okay, so move the message to junk email. Do you want me to quarantine the message, deliver the message as normal, and put the other address in the BCC line, delete the message? it might be quite a useful idea in this case to, let's say, move it to the junk folder, I would say. Now, if the message is detected as an impersonated domain, again, there are rules and settings that you can do here. If the message is detected as a spoof, again, what do you want to do? Do you want to quarantine that message or move it to a specific folder? Again, some safety tips. So do you want to show first contact safety tips? This is a recommendation. Again, show user impersonation safety tips. Doesn't do any harm to switch these features on. So again, we have a few kind of bits of advice and safety tips. All right, so we get a nice review of everything. We can then submit. Again, you can edit any of these. And there we go. That is now enabled and it's now switched on. All right. So that's the phishing policy. Now, the next one down is the anti-spam. Now, of course, they say that 98% of the mail on the internet, of course, is spam. Now, spam is not necessarily malicious, but it can waste an awful lot of time. It fills up your email. Now, in Outlook, we have the clutter folder and also we've got the junk folders as well. Now, you can see here that we have an anti-spam, which is an inbound policy. And the idea is it catches, there's AI built in, artificial intelligence, and it's basically looking for spam. We also have a connection filter. So things like IP addresses of known spammers, for example, Chinese companies who want to sell you drugs or whatever they want to sell you. Anti-spam outbound policies. So again, we have 3 policy settings here. Again, you can edit the name and the description, and you can see to be honest, it's pretty good the way they've actually set this up. Now, you can, again, it gives you a set of default rules, but I can go in and you can see that I can edit quite a lot of these. So things like image links to remote websites, numeric IP addresses in a URL, if the URL redirect. These are obviously potentially malicious things. So again, if it detects these things, mark the message as spam. All right. So again, you can go through all of these. Now, I would actually say that the settings that they've come out with are actually pretty good. Now, so basically what we have in 365, this is EOP, Exchange Online Protection, and it basically has 9 different scanning engines. So it's consistently and constantly looking for potential, not necessarily malicious, but just repetitive mail, obviously junk mail. The connection policy setting here, this is the IP allow list. So an IP address is of course like a phone number, a phone address. And you obviously if a particular hacker or an organization is sending you blatantly, obviously spam email, then you can put in you can either do an allow list or you can do a block list of particular IP addresses. So you can add those IP addresses here if you want to. All right. And then finally, you can also control the spam going out of your organization. Now, you probably think, hey, we don't have any spam going outside of our organization. But again, you can do. All right. So you can restrict sending to external recipients. So you can set that to a specific number of emails per hour. So, if you're sending something like 5,000 emails an hour, that potentially could pick you up as a spammer. Okay. So you can set those limits here if you want to do that. So As I said, the threat policies, the anti-phishing and the anti-spam are very useful. Now, the other three things that I really want to just mention here are the anti-malware. So very, very useful. So there are 9 scanning engines constantly looking for potential malware. And again, the rules are on by default. You can switch them on. So, for example, if it detects an email with malware, what do you want me to do? Purge it, send it to the junk email filter, notify the admin. And again, you can edit any of these settings if you want to. Now, to be honest with you, this is pretty good. I love this one, by the way, just before I continue. Notify external senders that their message has been successful. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to do that. But the one thing I would say is, although the malware filter is quite good, if you've got EOP, Exchange Online Protection, then safe attachments and safe links are absolutely like gold. So let me show you this safe attachments. So again, premium, this is for premium subscribers. You can create what we call a safe attachments policy. And I'll just call this demo 1 and I'll click next. And which users or groups or domains is this for? So again, we'll say the sales and marketing domain. And the sales and marketing group rather, or team, of course. Again, I'll click next. And typically you get 5 options. All right. Remember, we're talking about attachments, mail attachments. So off, it's not doing anything. All right. So attachments are not scanned. Monitor. Deliver the message, and if malware is detected, don't delete it, just track and trace the results. So this is a good thing that, let's say, developers or security professionals might do. If you suspect that there's malware in the company, you can actually, maybe launch it in in an environment that's safe, for example, that you want to see what it's actually doing. Block. This will block the content of future messages and attachments. That means that any detection of malware will not get through at all, ever. All right? And, excuse me, this is probably the one that's the most tricky. Replace. Block attachments with detected malware, but deliver the message. So what they're actually doing here is they're actually removing the malware or removing the attachment, but continuing to deliver the original message. All right. And when the user opens up the message, there'll be like a little tooltip on the message which says the attachment was malicious and it's been removed. Another one is dynamic delivery. Dynamic, basically what it does is it removes the attachment, immediately delivers the message without that attachment, it scans it, and if the message is benign, it reattaches it and then delivers the message. All right? So basically when the user opens up the message here, the message is delivered, but there is like a little HTML placeholder which lets them know that there was an attachment. It's currently being scanned. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 5 options. So malware is off, monitor, block, replace, and dynamic delivery. All right. Now, you can also, if it detects an attachment, you can redirect it to a specific mailbox if you want to. All right. So you might have, let's say, a security mailbox, an anti-phishing mailbox, or something like that. All right, so that is a really nice feature. Okay, apply the safe attachments detection response if scanning can't complete. So if it's a very large attachment or something like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And again, I'm going to submit. And you can now see that I've gone ahead and I've created my policy. All right. So the final option here is the safe links option. And safe links, again, really nice feature. What this does is it uses artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it's constantly looking for malicious links in emails and on websites. So again, I'll call this my test 1. And again, you can scan for a particular user, a series of groups, or a series of domains. So I'm going to do it for groups again, but this time I'll call it my sales best practices group. Okay. And you can see, all right, so select the action for unknown or potentially malicious URLs. I'm going to switch this on. So URLs will be rewritten and checked against a list of known malicious links. All right. And what the user would see is when they receive an email or try to go to that website, it comes up red and it lets them know, hey, this is a malicious website. All right. And they're just not able to get to it. So if they do get to that website, what do they want to do? So select the action. So, for example, in Microsoft Teams, because let's face it, this is really where you're going to pick up a lot of options here. So again, it's on in Microsoft Teams. Do you want to apply real-time scanning? Yes, you do. Wait for the scanning to finish, potentially. Apply safe links to email messages sent within the organization. Don't track the user clicks. Again, that could be a security thing. Some people might not like that. And also, don't let the users click through to the original URL. Now, that could be if it was a barcode or if it was a QR code or something like that. All right? And display the organization's branding on the notification and warning pages. So you get the company logo and so on. All right, so click next. And do you want to use the default notification or do you want to customize the text? All right, so you can put some customization text in there if you want to. Now, if you're a multilingual organization, you're in a college or a university, the Microsoft translation services will automatic localize it for you. So if you're in France, it'll be in French. If you're in Norwegian, and so on. Okay, that's a nice feature. All right, so there we go. Okay, so quick review. Everything looks good. And we just go ahead and we click on that. All right, so done. So what you've seen there, you've seen the threat policies. We talked about the anti-phishing policy, the anti-spam, anti-malware, safe attachments, and safe links. As I've mentioned, anti-phishing, spam, and malware are free. Every customer. This is called EOP, Exchange Online Protection. Now this is called Windows 365 Defender, and if you pay for that extra, you get these, but you also get the additional features as well. So safe attachments and the safe links feature. Now, the rest of this here is essentially shortcuts. So it's from other tools. All right. So we've got things like allow and block lists. So who can view your organization. So let's look at some of the other features that we've got here in the Security Admin Center. So what I'm going to do is from the home page here, you can see that we have all of these cards. Now, in my last video, or in a recent video that I did a session on Defender for Endpoints. So if you've not seen that, go ahead and have a look at that. In the next couple of weeks, I've actually got an Azure Sentinel video planned as well. So watch out for that one. That's quite interesting. Now, as with all of these, you can do a guided tour. You can also add other cards as well. So when they become available, I think they're all actually here at the moment. You can see that we have these cards that give you activity. Incidents and alerts. So again, shows me if there are any incidents ongoing, so any problems. So for things like activity from an infrequent country, that's me at the moment. This is a US based tenant. I'm in the UK, and it's saying, hey, this is, I don't recognize this activity. So who's the user? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to action it? Again, what it will generate an alert. Which device is the user using? Is it affecting a particular mailbox? I can say, hey, do I want to stop the user? Do I want to investigate it? And so on. So as well as the incidents, of course, incidents may generate alerts. Some of them are genuine. Some of them are benign. Okay. Email also generates alerts as well. So you can see that, any kind of potentially malicious email, you'll see, again, it's just picking up me because I'm coming in from an infrequent country, as Microsoft calls it. You've got hunting as well. So throughout your entire organization, I can search for potential malicious emails or actions. So again, you've got alerts, you've got apps and identities, and these are all in query rules. So these are a query language. Now, do you need to know the query language? No, of course not. So basically, I could say, okay, identity information. For example, okay, I want to find out some identity information. I can say, hey, I want to run that query. So I can then say, hey, I want to find details about this user. It tells you all of these are all the different fields. So Azure Active Directory, of course, is the directory service of Microsoft 365. And every directory has an object. So every object in this case has an identity. And these are called attributes. So again, we can run a query, in a query language, and you can see that if you're if you're good at this, this is the advanced hunting stuff. I tend not to use this stuff. All right. Can I customize my own rules rather than using some of Microsoft's? Absolutely. So you can create your own rules if you want to. If you want more information on this, by the way, there are some great learning tools here. So you can see it will take you through to the docs.microsoft.com, and it will show you how everything works. All right, which is a really nice feature. So you can type a query here and do some hunting. Now, to be honest, I don't have much going on. This is a fairly empty tenant. Okay, threat analytics. So what this does is it looks at your tenant, and these are the most obviously potential new malicious attacks. And what it's looking for is it's saying, okay, these are the biggest attacks around. Are there any incidents of this in your tenant? So if you want to have a quick look, it just tells you what the latest threats are, what ransomware is, how it works, what to look for, how to report it to Microsoft, and it explains exactly what it is and how it works. But it also tells you if there are any of your assets, so any users or groups impacted, and also what can you do in order to prevent any potential issues. Now, Secure Score. This is very useful. So what Secure Score does is it compares your score, your tenant score, and it compares it to industry peers. So companies like yours, all right? And it compares your score with theirs. And so here it's saying, hey, identity, it's okay, but it could be improved. And what it does is it's got a list of improvement actions. So in this case, it's suggesting, hey, you definitely want to go on and switch on multi-factor authentication for all your administrators. So in here, it says, hey, okay, I want to do this. I can say, yeah, this is planned. And it talks and it guides you through the whole plan of how to actually implement it. So it shows me which users it would affect and how it's actually done. All right. So this is a fantastic tool. So if you click on manage, it will take you off and you'll actually go ahead and do that. So Secure Score is fantastic, by the way. Now, every year, Microsoft actually have a competition to see who can get the highest score, but it's workable, the highest workable score. Okay. Okay, so the other thing that we've got here as well, so the latest campaigns and threat trackers. So are there any ongoing threats that we should be aware of? So no, we're pretty good at the moment. Exchange message trace, I'm going to cover that in a upcoming session. And also I covered the attack simulator in a previous video. So check out the attack simulator training if you want to know more about that. So like in any good security center, having good reports is critical. So here in the reports area, you can see that we have a good selection of reports. And the nice thing about this is Microsoft have put all of these in one place. So you can go in, I can view the security report, gives me a nice breakdown of any kind of known issues. So things like if you're using data loss prevention policies, things like false positive alerts and overrides, if you've got any device issues or anything like that. So at the moment, it's all looking pretty good for me. But again, I can go in, I can drill into these details if I want to do that. Now, obviously, in an organization, it's really important that when incidents take place, you know what happened. So auditing can be a very powerful set of tools. And in here, you can search audit logs. So audit logs tell me who did what, where, when, and how. Okay, so audit logs are really useful. For security reasons, I can also save an audit log and I can export that log out as well. Okay, in the health area here, you've got two options. You've got the service health. So it really just tells me, this actually is just a shortcut to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and also the Message Center in Microsoft 365. Just lets me know if there are any service issues. All right. Permissions and roles. Again, in a previous video, I've covered all the different types of RBAC or role-based admin control roles. And this is the place that you can come in and you can have a look at each of those roles within the organization. Again, these are just shortcuts. So if I click onto this, you can see it will just take me into the various admin roles here. And you can see here, it shows me at the moment, hey, Andy, you've got 10 global admins. And it's saying, you know, this is not a good idea. You may want to reduce that. So from a security perspective, you shouldn't have no more than 5 global admins, but no less than 2. All right. All right. So there we have it. Just a quick whistle-stop tour of the Security Center in Microsoft 365 Defender. There you have it, Microsoft 365 Defender. I really hope you found that useful. As always, if you've got any questions, any comments, I love them. Get them down below and I will do my best to answer them for you. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you won't miss out on the good stuff in the future. So, until next time, thank you for dropping by and you stay safe. Take care. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button and ring that bell and you won't miss a thing. See you next time.